What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 10 match in the NCL here, taking on Shade and the Calgary Talonflames. His team consists of Genesect, Reuniclus, Emboar, Araquanid, Gourgeist, Rotom-Frost, Mega Absol, Garchomp, Crobat, DNC, and Blissey. I wasn't expecting the Blissey. Okay, and I'm actually just getting over a sickness, and so that's why this match isn't live commentated. But I will be post-commentating it. I was like silently screaming throughout the match, but nothing really actually happened. So Genesect, the restrictions placed on that is that it can't use Shift Gear, and it has to hold a drive, which I think actually makes it really predictable in what it can do. It can still run Rock Polish, which is not as beneficial towards it. Shift Gear really helps out the fact that it's like probably the best mixed attacker in the entire game, um, giving it the attack boost like regardless of the download boost, so that you get either a +1 special attack or +2 attack. Um, whatever works. The only thing I wasn't expecting from Shade's side was the Blissey, and I knew Emboar was coming 100% of the time, just because it has such a good matchup against me, and it's like his only real way of breaking down Celesteela. I could handle Rotom Frost with a couple other Pokemon on the team, but it was definitely a threat as well. So I just figured that he would be more likely to bring Emboar and less likely to bring Rotom Frost. But on that note, I'm very surprised to see the Blissey here. I didn't really expect Blissey to show up because my team has really good physical breakers that just demolish it, and Mega Alakazam runs Psyshock all the time. So yeah, I'm like two-shotting Blissey because I can run Modest against this team. Yeah, I don't know why Blissey's there. You'd have to ask Shade. But I'm expecting either Rock's Chomp or Rock's DNC. It's probably going to be Z-Chomp. Mega Absol is not a Pokemon, but it looks really good against most of my team most of the time. I'm happy to see Blissey because it means it's a free switch for my Heracross every single time. Genesect looks like an issue if it's got the right coverage, and Emboar looks like a gigantic issue. So if you haven't seen my team builder, you should check it out, but I did mention that Jay built my team. Celesteela is like a mixed defensive-ish Celesteela. Rotom-Wash is fully physically defensive. Darm is Scarf. Mega Alakazam is like Barrier, 2 attacks, Recover, which doesn't look as good in this matchup. I would probably have preferred to bring something a little bit different this time around, but yeah. Kyurem-Black is Z Freeze Shock, which literally just claims one. Depending on the bulk investment on the Genesect, everything dies. Sorry, not the bulk investment on the Genesect, the bulk investment on the Emboar. Everything dies immediately to Z Freeze Shock. So that's a big pog. And then Heracross there is Assault Vest with Guts to absorb Will-O-Wisp from whatever. I think at the time it was from Rotom and Gourgeist, but neither of them showed up. And Crobat didn't even come, and neither did Araquanid. So like all of the hair and Reuniclus isn't here, and my bug. I don't even know if this has Megahorn. I can't remember anymore. But like all of the Heracross checks are just non-existent in this game. They just didn't come. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm gonna have to say about this one. I'm gonna lead Kyurem-Black because again, Z Freeze Shock just claims one, and I wasn't sure about the investment on this Emboar, and I also wasn't sure if he was Scarf because Scarf's superpower would kill me. So I wasn't entirely sure about that. But again, like max, depending on the HP investment, I could have just killed here with a Z Freeze Shock. But I'm going to make the save play and just double into my Rotom-Wash turn 2, or turn 1, I mean, on the Emboar. And we see the superpower damage. That shows to be Jolly Band. Doesn't put me in my berry range, but I'm going to get a Pain Split off here on the Blissey, which gets me all the way back up to full. So the Blissey switch was a very interesting one, obviously for like a Hydro or a T-Wave or something, but probably a T-Wave actually, knowing me. But yeah, I got the Pain Split back there and got all my HP back. So essentially that was wasted, and it gave me damage on Blissey, and it let me scout what the Emboar is, and it's Jolly Band. So I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to outspeed it or not. Wait, I can't remember if it's Jolly or Adamant Band anymore. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. I know it's banded and not scarfed, so I'm assuming I'm still faster than it. I'm running a little bit of speed on my Rotom-Wash here, but he could definitely just be outrunning. He could still be outrunning me if he's expecting me to put more than the ADVs that I have in there, and I may not be faster than it later, but I just need a little bit of chip on it, and then something dies to Z Freeze Shock. So I'm actually just going to double into Heracross, because I don't know if I had Volt Switch, actually. I'm not entirely sure if I had Volt Switch or not. But yeah, I'm going to double into Heracross, and everything gets 2-shot by close combat. So interesting decision to bring in the Garchomp there, rather than keep the Blissey dead, because I don't think the Blissey was doing anything here. He's just going to SD, and I'm going to protect on the very obvious Z-Fire. Through the protect, I can tell that's Z-Fire Fang and not Z-Fire Blast. I don't know why it would be Fire Blast with Swords Dance anyways, but that's what I can tell from my Celesteela damage. And I'm just going to risk the Fire Fang, because I know I live the Fire Fang. I go for the Leech Seed here. He actually crit Stone Edges me, so I would have been able to play some like Leech Seed Protect games there if the Stone Edge didn't crit. It's not going to matter all that much, because my Celesteela is basically a useless piece of garbage against this in particular, although it would be very effective against the DNC that looks like a threat to me later. I go Rotom on the Fire Fang here. I'm going to get some HP back, and then he's going to hit another Stone Edge and do a lot of damage, as we're going to be able to kill it with Toxic. And I get a little bit above half with the Leech Seed recovery, which is okay. It means that I'm probably in a bad position, but then he doubles into Emboar and clicks Flare Blitz, which I thought was really interesting. He doesn't know anything about my Rotom set. I could have just clicked Hydro there, which actually would have put me in a good position, because I know this is banded. So this was, like, risky play on his part. I think it's good in general, because it's sort of countered how I wanted to play this turn, and he obviously caught the Celesteela sack, but clicking Flare Blitz into Rotom would have just put me in berry range, and I would have just killed this Emboar. Even if he was faster, it would have just put me in berry range. It wasn't killing my Rotom from that range, so I don't know. I don't know, but that's how that turn went. Bringing my Darm here, which is just going to be able to click Earthquake relatively freely, but I figure the Emboar is going to switch knowing that, and I get my Heracross in against the Genesect. Hard to tell what was going to happen with that, because it got the special attack download boost. I didn't want to risk anything, especially offensive-wise, so I wanted the Assault Vest user. But I was still scared of like Scarf U-turn or something. For going into Alakazam, and I don't have HP Fire on the Alakazam, which I'm definitely regretting now. Is not just running like 3 attacks Alakazam, but again, there's nothing that doesn't get like obliterated by close combat at this stage. In fact, everything except for the DNC gets OHKO'd by it. So DNC comes in, it does not take that very well at all. Shows to be more on the specially defensive side, is what I had originally grasped. He doesn't know what Heracross set I am. He's probably thinking that I'm dual Scarfers, but I'm obviously not. Earthquake was actually a roll to kill this DNC here, but I didn't want to go for it because Heracross is way too important in this game. So I go Alakazam on a Trick Room, and I'm like, okay, well, this is not great. I'm going to stay in regular form so that I can avoid like a Toxic or something like that. But it's just Diamond Storm. So Diamond Storm is obviously a good chance of two-shotting me. He's going to get up the rocks on the turn that I click Recover. Trick Room is really obnoxious right now, and I'm going to click Barrier on the turn where he Moonblast. So turns out Moonblast is also going to two-shot me. This is a very... Pardon me. This is a very offensive DNC based on that. Damage between Diamond Storm and Moonblast. Oh, I was also scared of a Shuka DNC, which is why I didn't Earthquake it either, because I would have just been obliterated by Moonblast, and then Heracross is useless. But at this point, Alakazam is basically useless. So I'm going to double into the Rotom, which is a really bad play on the final turn of Trick Room, and just die. I should have just sacked Alakazam there. It was the better play. And then I bring in Kyurem-Black, and the Emboar is taking the Flare Blitz recoil chip, which is enough for Z Free Shock to kill it every time now. So I'm going to claim my kill with Z Free Shock, which doesn't really matter. As the Mega Absol comes in, I'm going to go for the Fusion Bolt. I should have gone for Free Shock, but I thought Player Off might two-shot me from that range. Or Player Off, sorry, wouldn't have two-shot me from that range, but Will-O-Wisp was a very strange play. I wasn't entirely sure about that one. I could have very well just clicked Ice Beam, and it really wouldn't have mattered. The burn only matters for the Blissey trying to wall me. Yeah, I don't know. Player Off comes in here, and it's going to get the attack drop. And so now I don't have a chance of killing with Fusion Bolt. Again, I probably should have just Free Shocked right off the bat. And then he's going to show Sucker Punch. Now, that one I think is actually just a mistake on his part. I don't think he needed to show Sucker Punch there because he knew that he was faster. So the only reason he did that, he could have actually just clicked Pursuit as well, which would have been a viable play in my opinion. I know he has Pursuit on the set now because it's post-game, but I didn't know at the time. I think showing Pursuit was more valuable than showing Sucker Punch because I should still assume that it's going to have knockoff or some fire coverage or electric coverage for the Celesteela, right? So I think by not showing Sucker Punch, he puts me in a position where I feel like it's more safe to go Mega Alakazam on this than it actually is. So I think that that was actually probably a mistake on his part, doing that um, rather than just secure the kill with Play Rough or Pursuit. And yes, he could have just secured the kill with Play Rough because even if he missed, Fusion Bolt wasn't killing him because I was burned. So I think that those were his better plays. So revealing Sucker Punch I think was a mistake, but it's not really going to matter because I'm going to assume that Absol has Sucker Punch. But just sort of explaining myself there. I'm going to go Darm here. It's the only thing I have that lives a hit. Alakazam dies to Sucker. I can't play mining games with this because I don't know what the last move is. And Heracross dies to Play Rough. So I have to go Darm, and for whatever reason, he's not going to Sucker now, and he's just going to die? I didn't understand that one either. Sucker felt like a really obvious play to me, but he probably felt like I was Scarf Heracross and maybe not Scarf Darm, maybe Banded Darm. He could have calced the U-turn damage against the Genesect and seen that I wasn't banned. Maybe, I don't know what he might have thought there, but I'm obviously not a banded Darmanitan, otherwise I would have done way more damage to the Genesect. But Genesect comes in now, and I'm like, okay, crap. And I'm just going to go Alakazam on the Blaze Kick. I didn't know if it was Blaze Kick or not, but I wanted to scout for whatever it was going to go for. It has an attack boost, and I was like, all right, Iron Head is going to kill my Heracross here. I don't want to deal with that. So I see that it's hasty, and like, well, I don't know that it's hasty necessarily. Actually, I think I did from the U-turn damage on Darm, but it has to be shiny to be extreme speed, so I'm just going to assume that it's extreme speed. And I'm going to go Darm. I imagine I died at E-speed, but I want to scout for it just in case it doesn't have it. And then I figure the game's over because it's got Blaze Kick. And so I dropped the GG in chat. But he's actually going to miss, and Heracross is going to pick off that kill with the close combat there. It looked like a roll on the close combat, and here it looks like a roll on the Earthquake to the Emboar. So we dodge the Blaze Kick, get 2 rolls, and we win the game with Heracross. So, yeah, we picked up a 1-0 here. I did play like ass for sure. I made some very obvious plays. That's been something that's like super obvious in my playstyle recently. I haven't been making like really ballsy reads because I'm unsure about sort of the skill level of some players that I'm playing against, and I'm unsure about Shade too because he's played against me a few times now, and he's shown varying levels of like prep ability and varying levels of like predicting things. So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, obviously the game's over if he hits Blaze Kick there, right? Because he's +1. Excuse me. And so the Blaze Kick mattered a lot. I'm just not entirely sure how I would have played this game better. I probably would have stayed in with Heracross and just killed the Garchomp, not let my Celesteela get weakened at all. And then Celesteela would have been able to handle the DNC. My Alakazam would have been put in a little bit of a better spot. I could have got a barrier off. Before the Genesect came in, it was fully physical Genesect, by the way. So I could have got a barrier off before the Genesect came in, probably, and then I would have been able to deal with it that way. Something I didn't mention earlier that I would have mentioned if this was a live comm is the Genesect showed Chill Drive, and I was a little bit surprised about that. I thought that he might at least bait that he was specially offensive and run Shock Drive. Which would have been better to hit the Celesteela. Would have meant that he doesn't have to run like fire coverage, unless he wanted to hit the Heracross as well. But Chill Drive also made sense. It's just I'm sorry, just paraphrasing what I would have said in a live comm. So Chill Drive also makes sense because it still hits the Celesteela neutrally, it still hits the Superior, still hits the Piloswine, which otherwise would have walled that without like Flash Cannon or something like that. Hits the Kyurem-Black neutrally. So it basically hit everything neutrally, rather than Shock Drive. So he did a good job of baiting that it was still special. It's just at the time I was like, why isn't the Shock? I was expecting it to be Shock for Celesteela, but it wasn't. So anyways, take that as you will. Definitely a Haxty win. I didn't deserve to win this game whatsoever. It was an absolute robbery. But we'll take it, I guess. So we're 9-1 plus 16 now. Still first in the league. I'm still 2 wins up on Hamu, I believe. And so I just need to win one of my last 2 games to secure first seed, I think. Let me just double check. I'm not entirely sure if that's correct or not. No, Hamu hasn't played his week 10. So depending on that, well, not depending on that. Realistically, to dodge Hamu, which is what I want to do, I just need to win one of my last 2 games, and then I'll lock myself into a top 2 seed, which will be fine, because the way that playoffs are going to work is the number 1 seed gets to pick their opponent, then the number 2 seed gets to pick their opponent, but 1 can't pick 2. So as long as I'm a top 2 seed, I'll dodge Hamu, and be on the opposite side of the bracket from him, as long as we're both top 2 seeds, and I'll dodge him all the way until finals, if that's even a thing. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Hopefully you guys kind of enjoyed. I definitely was not comfortable at all with the team that Jay built for me. So Jay, if you're watching, I definitely appreciate the time that you put in, and I know you built teams for my remaining 2 opponents as well that I will not be using. Again, sorry about that, but you put some time into that, but I'm not comfortable with that style of building, and so I'm going to build from the ground up on both of those. But yeah, next week we take on Gareth and the Hamilton Honchcrows, so keep an eye out for that, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.